Hello. Please tell us your name.
Penpa.
His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, asked us to record your experiences so that we can share your memories with many generations of Tibetans, the Chinese, and the rest of the world. Your memories will help us to document the true history, culture, and beliefs of the Tibetan people. Do you give your permission for the Tibet Oral History Project to use this interview?
Ani pheba mira mangbe thenda la cherwa ani gya mirikta ani chi lungba chi jambling lungba shembe khendo ge che dos ani kyangul bin chenge ani nganzu la ya ani number choge ani nyamyong dungzu danya che gores en dine ani jambling la ya ani phebe ge nyema nganzu gerap ngoma khari yeme nganzu rishung khande yeme dine ha kogores en tharin de la ya phebe ge ngagyun gerap regul dige ani palagi Yes, you can use it.
Thank you for offering to share your story with us. During this interview, if you wish to take a break or stop at any time, please let me know. If this interview was shown in Tibet or China, would this be a problem for you?
No problem.
Okay. If you do not wish to answer a question or talk about something, let me know. We are honored to record your story and appreciate your participation in this project. Gela, please tell us where was your family from?
Originally, my father came from Kham, but as far as I could remember, my father and I were in Kongpo.
In Kongpo?
Yes, and my mother had died.
Oh. How old were you when your mother died?
My mother died when I was about 6 or 7 months old.
Ooh. And so who raised you?
I was told that when I was young and my mother passed away, I was brought up by a family, but when I could remember, like when I was 6 or 7 years old, my father was raising me.
Do you know what caused the death of your mother?
No, I'm not sure what she died of. I only know that she was dead, but I don't know why she died.
So in your family home, from 6 or 7 on, who did you live with?
My father, who was from Kham, was a sort of trader who left his region and then traveled towards the west, and then he met my mother somewhere in Lhasa, and then they went on a pilgrimage, and at that time then my mother died, and my father wanted to go back to his village in Kham, but then we landed in Kongpo, and we have been there all the time.
All the time in Kongpo. And when you were 6 and 7 and 10 years old, who was in your home besides you and your father?
The Galagi that temper study gonna low to do the parala roala, and Nalaya and Galache, Palache, and Shamba Sudo. Nala Sudu,
Nala Tanda Tanda Desert Nalaya, Mizan Chevajore, the Chase Avenue.
Palata, Nanginala Suyu.
Nami power mission, power current, Janjan,
They're just my father and myself and nobody else.
And how did you spend your days as a child when you were 6 and 7 and 10?
Ane gala dikabla pugu chunju yindi da lo tu dun chu parala rwa. Ane tuzu khande da which ne kegi ye.
Tuzu ta this simple dinde temon do se ta lo chu de ko ta ta dinde simple to kan do. Mizan ji simple to kan do ta simple to le je dinde se je ta lo da sen lo yin ma le shi. Yi bu je se ba wa de. Yi bu de 이게 제가 이거 lo tu simple to ka ta ne. 이거 말라래.
이게 가발랍가도.
근데 먼저 다 지어를 때 미장 지어래. 되게 다 이게 더 튀겨 가고 그러는데. 근데 이게 들어오는데 거랑 심지어 저같아. 근데 맞아. 이거 말라 이거 나한테
When I was 6, 7, I used to go playing, and then later I grazed animals, and my father sent me to a family who used to teach the alphabets. But then when I went there, they made me look after their animals.
So, did you want to learn the alphabet instead of watching the animals?
And gala palagi yigi janga tangwa. And mezan di semjen chojuyorwa. And gala gi sembenala jik semjen chomajuni yigi labro china do retensue.
저 재미는 tika full this rest there the 이거 더 라고 지는 산 제도 이거 라고 당로. Because the Tim that there was the relative that she does now.
Yes, I did hope that they would teach me the alphabets because my father sent me to study.
Yeah.
But then I grazed the animals and I was happy in the fields.
Right. Was the place you stayed, was it far from your father's home?
And tanda yigi janga josa jiorwa. Di Galada Palani desa nang dine taring lure. It was not very far, about a mile away.
And what was your father doing during the day?
And Galagi and Palagi lega karichigere.
Baba that me living to the Sucha Molde that church of single. Church there, several lawyer in the church to single. And the name on that the Nalo the chosen but the chosen in the Tibetan then that did not disimitate. The Shunju will take you, the taste and the Shungu taking it. The Bella didn't smell it. Jig Shungu changing it, Shungu with the jig Lauranka, that the she in the Lauran City one did about Komba. G. Devenka, that Mrs. Sumio, that Devenka Senata Gudaka, then she did, she got a song singing that the other one. That Shunrangi di Kavare, Shundi Shun Kanarangi, that they're taking it. That's just on the Shunju was Shunjubati Shungu Tete, Shung Gogari and that, the Kargo and Shunia taking it, Shunjubati. Gave it to give a council taking it. The Madan did the Junanium Desert.
My father could read the prayers, and then in Tibet there are three types of people taxes. There was the taxes to the government, and then to the monastery, and then to the noble families. And we were paying taxes to the government.
And why were you paying taxes to the government instead of to the monastery or the noble people?
And pala ikonzu te tesa de shungla wa. Shungla di ta labranda depend mayin bala shungla kharishini tigiyore.
Shungdi shungla kugutra ota shungla sa de sashi na sashi yorwa sa ta sashi simjan tin ta de sajalini tagiyor ta shungdi. Di tedo de ta di yungu ta samaya shungdi kar godne te ore. Ta dinala te tega naguman gutje ore. Mane jabu고 ta 자 포게 데 죽으면도 디스동제 때 ore. 신구 때 나가 너무 신구 때 ore. 진짜 무대 생각도 왔는데 다 나한테 온다. 다 맞대 때 ore. 다 로다한테 유행 카드. 디 마이마게 있는 배트에 망고 때 ore.
Dalai Khonsu shungi sa peju dangi yo.
네, 디단데 슝주버래. 태바데 쿠자 공수는 저 왔다데 태바지래.
Dalai Khonsu re Dalai gi jinda.
나 그래. 마테스 바바다. 발라디 나 말해. 나 테스티 나. 그래서 나한테 바바디 건데 마음을 치는 바바. 재미 사셔하는 건데 마음을 치고 와. 건데 나 나한테 살. 마바스는 말다 다 사실 건들 죄버리고 있어. 또 그런들 내가 제가 바바 뭐 건데 나서. 또 건데 나한테 건데 부고도 있었대 살.
바바 가와페.
바바다 건데 마음을 치.
Dalai kena pala.
건데 바바를 와.
Dalai kena pala. 망밀 페레.
망밀.
가디 망밀라.
디 재미있다 마셔도 와. 재미있다 동보대 자나야 마자 이거. 이제 가라 아무 망밀 친도 한 수만 되로.
So when the war occurred, my father went to join the army, and I was left to live with a family who were a taxpayers' family, and these people were paying taxes to the government because they used the land belonging to the government. And then there are many types of taxes that one paid to the government, mostly grains.
Okay. Before your father went to war, you stayed with that first family for how long in your childhood? How many years?
Before father left, he was living with his father.
Yeah, and
when father left, then he lived to stay with a family who paid taxes.
Oh, so the people that he stayed with during the day, he would go home at night to his father.
No, his father had already left for the army when father made him stay with his family.
The family who was going to teach him the alphabet.
That's different.
That's I'm asking. How long did he stay with that family?
Gala, tanda yigil labnye gi misanji wa, on di nyamdo gala gyur ringlo dere. Just about 2 or 3 months, not long.
Not long.
Not long.
And then his father left for the army?
Army.
Who was the father? What was he fighting?
And pala mami na zurwa.
Mami jumara ti ko shungu teba gure mizandel teba ro. Ti mizandel ngate shasa ngata ti chunju gan ta ti mizandel na sawe. Teba din na sare. Ta ti mizandel lot ta besho bat din na de.
The family with whom my father and I lived were taxed to send one person to the army. So my father was sent to the army, and I lived with this family.
I see. And do you know what your father did in the? This was the.
ane pala ma zinga khawa phere
de so zna wa sengan de dan de pa 공부는 잠동만 팔로 그래 so zna wa ta 바당 마음에 생각 저 공부를 튀기러 봐 어디 마음에 들어
바당 마음이
바당 마음에 생각 튀기러 봐 공부 그때 유마디 유제 로망 토고 와. 어디서든 다 제거들 개고 와. 제일 개고.
The people who paid taxes to the government were to send a person each to the army, and the army of Kongpo was known as Padang army. So my father joined the Padang army, and they were fighting around Gyamda.
Who were they fighting?
And Gyamda lama jingde
Chamdo
yorwa.
jimar, chamdo no man jing yamar de so zende kansu der der, ta desan do so zende kansu.
So jende gala ya, ane sula jinga jore.
Ta mami de jami ka ga dorwa. Ta chamdo ne ma gemle go so de man ton man dirwa yuma dire. Ta yuma de gal kombo mami de padam mami sing dirwa.
So my father and his group, they camped at So Zendengang, and they were there, sent there to resist the Chinese who were arriving.
Oh, let's see. And were they, what kind of, what happened to them when they tried to resist the Chinese army?
아니 건조 야미 까가 칭로와라. 까도 간에 가리
다
중요나.
jami kondo jami thong jami se de chung ge da ma ja cho maris. Ma lor ba. To ko na so.
Ma jai mare.
Ma jai mare. Kondo da ma lo de jami da da ko de 친리 저 중res. 참도 쇼 살와. 참도 마 쇼네. 친리 저 중네. 다 jami ma ja cho maris. kondo ba 랑 유마들 랑 so lo de. Lo yin se de. ma da de de.
At that time, the Chamdo had fallen to the Chinese, and then the Tibetan government sent orders to the army at So Zendegang that they were not to fight the Chinese, and so my father and his group returned.
Gala, Gala, do you have any idea why the Tibetan government said don't fight the Chinese?
아니 페르숑게 콘술라 까땅으로와 타 게미냠도 마 징고 마레스 가르체니 게미냠도 마 징고 마레스 까땅
저 코란도 가르쳐 오래 따티 코란도 딱 깨져 디브레스 아니 제가 디마자 줘 말에 디 콘들라 다지 줘 말레스 라레스 이 마마들 유마 코란도 라서 라자파 슝글 때셔 저와 디랑로 파테 아니 디만 파 융거라서 라서 정말 로스
아니 라자야 퓨르
라자야 퓨르 어딘데 레스 바보데
my father told me that the two governments had come to an agreement, and that all the soldiers were required to give up their arms to the Tibetan government, and then they returned home.
Gela, do you have any idea what year that might have been?
Gelagi 지 제바이나 디직동 국가 가즈라이나. I might have been about 14 or 15 at that time.
So here's born Okay, so that would have been 1952, about 1952 maybe. So that was before Lhasa was taken.
Yes, at that time the Chinese had not
the
Chinese had not come to our region also, but they were in Chamdo.
Yes. What thoughts or concerns did you have about your father if he was off trying to prevent the Chinese from invading?
아니 갤라 충중 제 미장직 나라샤 아니 빨라 피게 게밀라 다 징가 조르와라 이디가네 아니 셈베 나리아 아니 가리더부지 텐스웨 갤라
그인데 시대디 세시라 텐스인데 다지가 시고 말레디 돈도디 셔와라
I was a child and I did not think much. I only heard the stories after my father returned.
And can you tell me about life with the family that you grew up with?
아니 갤라 단다 테바 미장직 자래야 슈르와 친주갑래야 and dinala mitsi khande jabus yure
미주야 그런 부분은 신식이래. 단다 대어 미전디. 다 거기 미전 치어도 미전이 더 사실. 충분히 되지.
It was a good life with the family because the family treated me like one of their children.
Were there other children in the family, and how many?
There were children, some were older to me and some younger too.
What were some of the things that you enjoyed eating when you were a boy growing up in that family? What kind of food did you like?
Chushi kandesa.
Chushi daji ballet social ballet na kacha ye.
I used to like eating bread and I did not like tsampa much.
Really? That was unusual for a Tibetan.
Peba mangcheya dinde marwa.
Sabasne kacha ye. Musin dia sabasne me ballet lo saya kacha ye.
Okay. And you said the family treated you well. What were your chores in the family when you were a teenager?
Ne gelagi khamba mizan din dang la shudu ga ne ane lengen tabu khariyo ni mata parish.
Lengen lo ta ya sonin da chewdi ta yoke wondo kari na kari chewa na chewa lo ta nang sin tu ba ta kari ta le doge wondo kari chewa na ta chujuri ta le nang le ta ma jo kari na ma mandu chewa lo ta nge lengen lo ti chewa ta ko bugu ma jo bugu chunde lo ba tu mandu chigri to pa de nang ti ta mandu lu 배셔서 받다 다 디나티에.
아리게나 심진 소이 송사.
심진 소리. 춘주관 심진 소리 와. 세부장 심진 소리 와.
아니 신부가 두디 침보래 주지.
아, 침보래. 신부가.
When I was younger, I grazed their animals, and when I grew older, I looked for firewood and did whatever work was there in the house.
Okay. Tell me about grazing the animals. Did you do that alone, and what was the size of the group you were herding?
아니 심진 초가 페기여와 갈라기 심진 다 망류 요래 갈라 찍고 페고래
말 망고 열라 심진 망고 열라 심진 페다 파과나 rel로 다 라들로니 이제 담아서 줘 파과다 십주지 지지 그래서 다 되는 생각 다 죽지네 지금 다 버주 로봇 정한 이슈지.
There were many people who went to graze together, and the family also had a lot of animals. There were about 40 pigs and 200 sheep and goats, 11 horses, and 15 to 20 cows and oxen.
And which of those animals did you have responsibility for?
다 심진 담에나 망고도와 갈라게 심진 가디 초고고래.
다 춘주관을 다 뒤로 루당 파관도 때 버주 초고래. 버주 때 나도 초고래. 다 근거는 나 신다 초고래. 나 뒤초고로 다 들래 게 마법스디. 다 릴자셔로 와 공무만 다 가가도 뒤초고래. 다나 버주도 제로 릴 화당하셔. 뒤초만 다 공무만 주고로 와. 그거는 다.
니만 딱 버리시.
당 건다다. 수치한다고 그랬다. 내가 참상하면 신다지기로.
When I was younger, I looked after the pigs, sheep, and cows. And then when I became older in the winter, I have to look after the horses.
And when you were younger, what did you do for responsibility with the animals, the sheep and the pigs and the cows?
아니 충주 연디간에 다 룩다 파파든데 초고여와 아니 초다 간데라고 초고래.
방가들을 대서 방가들 링거들이 어떤 동거들이 로사나잖아. 야대 다 때문에 때는 터지래. 다저그래. 때문에 되그랬다. 진짜.
We took these animals to the pasture lands and then just let them graze, and then we played about.
And you played about. Were these children from other families? Were you the only one in charge of your family's animals?
단다 셈제 미잔디기 셈제 열와 니 청에 빨라 캔 찍고르베
열 청에 열 북신다 열
코란즈 미잔 코란즈 보고
삼성 원님들 삼성 먼저 줬다 수치가 맞던 거리라 중주가 또 전부 사람들 너무 말해 신다 청에 신다 열
there were other children but mostly I was the one who went
mostly. And did you go for the whole day or for a week at a time? What kind of?
셈제 초가 주기간에 쇼게야 티 건다 마티아레야 합다 파도시
말을 거다 고문 쇼가 가본 롱거를 쇼가 심지어 그래서 나고스리버리 파탄 빵을 파탄 걸 빵아 파탄 뒤에 관다 주주 버려 나 자가 다 저거를 다 예고 된지 맺죠 루상한테 심지어 다 루단 드라송아 저와 뒤따와 되는 저 파초 말
so
야가 미스터 말
we took the animals out very early in the morning and brought them home by evening.
So all day long you were out in the hillside and the fields, and you played. Was there anything else that, when you were playing, was there anything else that you did besides play?
다시 뒤가는 쇼게는 신의 건다 봐도 니만 닝강 치료를 열어와. 엔점을 안제 되기래야 셴바지 가르치야 열어.
세요를 다시 순자야 땅데 다들 왔다 보고 때문에 하던데 다 진짜 있던데 때때 아 순자야 다른 것도 주사 때는 와 되기로 와라. 릴레안도다 리드네 잡셔 동고 사당데 열어. 한 순자다 제생 사람은 다 직다오로 미세. 야 주장 갈 통데 그래 통데. 다른 것도는 마콩으로.
There was nothing else to do but play, but we also had to look out for wild animals who might attack our animals, and then if the animals wandered away, we had to bring them back.
Now, what did you have with you to protect the sheep and pigs and cows from wild animals?
다 리다들이 심진 사가 용시라 수수 심진 콘줄레야 다 특그 수수 심진 다야기 된다라와 가리키야 열을 락발이야.
그야말로 어떻게 저 친구들이 좀 되는 다 그러니까 그래요.
No, we did not have any weapons, but
삼사세로 니 손들이 세시기를 파르생하지요. 파르생하지요.
So we just shouted, or we had the dogs.
수비지 대세로.
What kind of animals did you actually see with your own eyes?
아니 심지어 가리가리 미기 통용베스.
다스는 제생.
라오 제생.
제생 다 더블 열을 제생 먼저 세생한도 오던데 다 파라생한도 친도던데 열 친도 버는데 추출리 그랬대. 파라생한 추출리 그랬대. 추스는 배다 망고. 근데 다 추축지던데 다 제고던데 출리 근데 님들리 그래.
네.
거기 심지어서 펼치면서 그래라. 밑다고 잡는.
There were leopards and then groups of animal which in Tibetan we called para used to come. So we had la. So that's the wild dog.
Wild dogs.
Wild dogs. So they used to come in huge packs.
And what would they do if they got near your sheep?
아니 한다 셈진 파라다 너저 소스 룩티도 알아 용토나 아니 가르치기래.
다드네 마요가는 깨져로 왔다. 딜러는 따서 갈 때면은 딜이 자고에 단지 자고에 저었다. 디다 근데 다 딜레를 찍게로 때 심지어도 로용을 와 먼저 다다 디버로 주사단다 친로에는 치다 그래. 근데 몇개 잡으러 와 깨자는 것도.
So we would know when the wild dogs were arriving because the vultures would be hovering around. So when that happened, then we would start shouting and set the dogs on them. Then we also had slingshots with us to scare them away.
It was vultures would be hovering around. Is that what you said? In the sky.
자그 용구를
자그 용구를 거기 전선에 자고 있는 땀대 가는 자그 용구를 거는 되냐.
So whenever the pack of wild dogs were going, you know, the vultures would be hovering above. so we would know that these animals were coming.
가시보면 도시 야구 주는 것 잡고 들리지. 남시 자 도시만 가고 말아.
Now, did you bring dogs of your own, and what were they like? What size? What type?
근데 galai 주 키티기여로 아니면도
신님들도
키 간대여로 키 치중 치리
단데도 다 리버도 치도 치중 년보셔라. 제 암도 정도인데 제주스다. 먼저 별로 뭐 제주스기래. 근데 여 참도 레벨인데 여다 친다면 여다 먼저 쳐때 제 암도 정도인데 만년도 더 치마부지.
They were medium-sized dogs, and they had the ears standing up.
Okay.
So I took dogs of this kind. But in Tibet, we have many different kinds of dogs.
오늘 녀들도 치침부터 말해. 나한테 치탐 치부터 다 그러와. 그래서 별로 친 나한테 다에도 치부치부터 가요. 배워도 부상부지. 같이 보지는 저래.
Do you have? I'm sorry.
So the dogs that we had tied up in the house were very huge dogs, but the dogs we took with us were the medium-sized ones.
What was the size of the huge dogs in your house?
나나 따야기 키지요로 와라 키든지 치중 가지스 친구여래.
저절 단다.
Sure.
처음에 나가도 얘기를 그리고 부상부여.
Their height might have been that much, and they were very hairy.
About 4 feet, it looks like. And
they're very big.
And why did you keep such big, heavy?
아니 키 친구들은 나와 가르치는 이야기나.
다디 정배다 그라 제자라고 제래서 맛이 치디 인지면이 다 정바 과드리어로 과칠 따이다. 이 제전도 있나? 하고 맺다디. 그래서 쉽게 지고 싶어요래.
It was the custom to tie a dog near the gate of the house, and it might have been a sign of show. Yeah, and the dogs had a very loud bark.
Were the dogs also used for other reasons besides show?
Yeah, I heard that the nomads used such huge dogs to protect their flocks, but since we were farmers, so I suppose they were for show.
There was no danger that was there a danger that someone would try to break into your house?
아니 디야 나라야 꼬마다우들이 요야기 체도 말와 마가야 체도 말와
딘데르와 딘데 쳐데 딘데 지고 연체 유니고 말었지 다 전부들
that might have been to protect robbers from entering the house.
When you how many of the months of the year would you go out every day with the animals, like 5 months of the year or 9 months of the year, spring through summer?
Logic nalarwa ane simjentini tatawa khazus chilo rodeure.
나 되지만 먼저 이거지 심전 니르 좀 말로 나도 나셔.
Bet dog marwa.
dog 말때 너만 영 로봇은 파타는 거 너만 저 가가요. 심전 나보다 있잖아요. 가가요.
Since we were farmers, we did not take our flock far away for long periods, but we took them out in the fields in the morning and they were brought back in the evening.
And which months did you do that of the year?
아니 심지 저게 파릴라 땅 건다 추촌이 추내야 저와 비 로딱바 니마 딱바 치고래야
나 예디를 나다저 근데 열려서 그 야야들 된도 따여와 디디 처음에 다 소소도 던 거래. 야한테 다 심지 레신 저 콜래요. 미리 던 거다. 야 라고 있는다. 라는 동구 있는데 다 그래.
아니 그때 일려셔.
다 되네. 다 된도 가래. 지도 시번에 지도 시베 다 벤더 시베 정안에 제베 정아 받으래. 제베 정안에 야좀 당도 예든 되는 거래. 다 되네 지 그래서 원래 자도 신고 마도 두 마도는 저 저거도 소도잖아. 야 또 맞춰서 그래.
아네다 진짜 게베
지도 시베 벤더 시베 세번 정안에 야좀 당 거래. 제법 정하는 요즘 저를 구이다.
아니 땅처럼.
근데 땅 처마지래 되나. 다 그런 쳐도 맞아. 다 정보도 양도 소도 저거라도 저거 소그래. 소다 심지어 시걸 레스라 리는 땅 쳐 말해.
So there was a law in the land in our region which says that from the 15th day of the 4th month to the 15th day of the 8th month, the people were not permitted to let their animals loose because the fields were growing, the crops were growing. So during this time, someone from the family had to go with the animals and graze them. But after the crops were harvested, then one was free to just, send the animals out by themselves. But however, the period might vary after a meeting that they held.
I see. So it sounds like during the summer months, when the crops were growing, you couldn't take your animals out to graze?
You had to go with the animals to take them to
take
graze.
them out.
While in the winter months, when there were no crops in the field, you just let the animals loose anywhere.
I see. And you mentioned that you took slingshots sometimes to scare away the animals. What were they made of and what did they look like?
Rida dinde las susugi ta ralu saga yungdu gane gyala kyunzugi hordo kiri or song imbala hordo de khari gesugore
razboda da begu danle sur beyorwa lug beyorwa da put beyorwa de so ravale yorla dila tadlo tezing mindo de sugurita de va yerde da de so le yere.
So the slingshots were made from wool or goat's hair, and they had little stripes and designs in them.
Oh, so was it?
No,
you threw them.
String.
A long string, and you threw it like a lasso.
Like that. And then you placed a stone right in the center of the sling, and then you twirled it around, and then threw the stone.
And were you very good at that? Could you use a slingshot?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, you were he was good. Were you good at were there other sports like horse riding or anything like that that you did that you were good at?
I rode a horse because wherever you went you had to ride a horse, but I did not do horse racing.
I see. You said that when you got older, you took care of the 15 to 20 horses. Can you tell me about that? What were your duties on a daily basis?
Galatis konoya chess chatsabe jelarwa tamizan dige tadim zu taro chigiorwala.
That Jamil Lamsol lever, Jamil and Damsel to Juri. The Mizanti or the train of Kigri, Minot of Kigri. Last of the Jamil Tigriba. Lamsol correct Daniel. Didn't represent our tuning of Junior. Didn't never say, didn't Monlam to Lord.
When the Chinese arrived, then I did not stay with the family because the family had to pay a tax in the form of sending a person for road construction. So I was the one who was sent there, though the salary was paid by the Chinese, and I worked on road construction for 6 to 7 months.
Okay. Before we get to that, I want to ask some more questions. When the animals came home at night, the sheep and the pigs and everything, where were they placed on the farm?
Gonda semjin kortes sherwa tangi semjin donzu gonda chu chiyong guru wa na le chu chiyong du gane any gonda khawa tagi yore
ta ine chiro yusyo bojo de nal chu ore lu de ang chu khaga yore khamba do yore khamba do ne lu da ra de yore di khamba ji yore khamba de ro chu de khamba de chu ta bojo de gore ne to me de da za zi xiang de wol de xiang de gore yore de xiang ta de pa tar mu de da 양다 거리자서 거리자서 되는 시스템. 그런데 다고야 되는데요. 다 자세. 건다 내가 도에는 다들 차로 제 다른 날다 그래. 다다서요.
So there were separate places for the different animals. The horses were mostly outside. So only the horse which were to work the next day, we would have to tie them and provide them with grass. And the cows were in another shed, and while the sheep and the goats were enclosed in another shed.
And when you and the rest of the family were done their work for the day, what did people do in the evening when work was finished?
다 창만 인공길 내가 던져 차도라 건다. 다 건다 내가 차뒤 가네. 아니 미 창만 가르베 신 되기래.
공무 광래열. 다 쇼고 광무 때문에 있나 다 내가 좀 용어야. 쇼고는 생각 내가 저거 봐. 그거 있나 다시 내가 또 시도 출려서나 아니 심지 때문에는 배려고. 저에는 다 집에 요양도 같은데 다 배세하면 부르면 배세하는 뜻이 내가 몇 대주고
And then in the evenings, the evening work started.
내가 몇 대주고
So we were, not any time without work. So however, in autumn we would be working out more, so there was less work in the house in the evening. But in winter time, the women would be doing wool work, and the men would be also doing some weaving work, as well as the children who were also given some tasks.
So when you were weaving, what kinds of things were you making? And did you know how to weave, and what were you making?
아니 다 직타 되기 열와 가리나 직소 되기 열와 아게라 가리 소신기야.
타로 정함이 있다. 타선 다 메뉴스라서 다 지금 또또네 다다 지금
가리
테마 때문에 타 다야 되는 여러 왔는데 정
잘라 가리
잘라다 배에 넘부 다야 되는 여러 털들이 다 다야 되는 여러 이럴 때 전혀 무슨 다 메뉴스 다 메뉴
잘라 가리 쓰기래.
배다 나도 서울 먼저 들은 것들 둘로게 직 서버 둘로 직 듣는 버려 넘부 서다 배에 서버.
So I did not particularly do a lot of weaving, but in Tibet, all cloths were made by weaving.
Right. And was there ever a time when people could finish their work and just relax together, or did they work right till they went to bed?
다 건다기 내가 지기 열어알. 니 조조 다 내가 나가 봐도 내가 지니 되기래야 띠스 가서 저기시 하면 되노래.
공모스 때 두번도 추제긴다. 뒤전에 추제는 배도 주바도 이제 dinner를 얘기를. 년다 저거 내가 지금 그 탑let 담아던 거 보는 거랬다. 저거 추제 배서 숨바들 넘기지래. 디메신다 추제 배서 시방 가봐 dinner 거.
다 건다로 와라. 내가 지디기 열어알. 건다 내가 지디고 안에 다 내가 나가 봐도 내가 지기래. 야 띠스녀네 야 지.
말말 내가 저거 디디발 내가 참산 두고다 갈라스 제기래. 갈라된 얘기랬다.
So after the day's evening's work was done, we would all be provided with thukpa, which we drank and then went to sleep at around 10 o'clock. So, and in the morning, those who did the kitchen duties, they woke up very early, like around 3 o'clock, and the rest would wake up at 4 to 5 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. That was a long day. Yeah. Was the main meal, which meal was the main meal during the day and evening?
셀라 추그로알 셀라 나네 다 개치시 저부터 가디 찌기래 다.
그때 먼저 보고 있는 시라스 때 나와서 좀 해. 시라스 칼라스 때 지로와 다 디다디스자 개월 다 gem바도는 참 망한데 거야. 차서 참 된데 다 딩스 걸와 누구 찬스 저도 망했던 거야. 자다 자니 찍고도 된 거야. 잘해 참 망했던 거야. 근데 다르요. 다 참 왔는데 다른 영화 심정이 다 또셔 다른 생각이 때 뒤에 뒤라서 데모카드스 좀 좋다. 근데 가르동은 추전 동에는 다가동에는 그지리 다든 데버도 버려.
So as a child I did not think much, but some of the people like to drink chang a lot. In fact, they drank more chang than they did tea. And those who did not like chang would be provided with buttermilk, and you could drink as much as you liked.
And which did you prefer?
아니, gyala chang chuguyo, cha chuguyo, dara chuguyo.
나 다르마 통에 차통 거면.
I drank buttermilk because I did not like chang.
Okay. And at this point, you're now, well, before we get to that, you mentioned that there was a law about when the animals could not graze freely. So who wrote those laws in the village?
아니, gyala tangi jik sonsuwa, tanda 짜 팀이나 직 팀지 담이야도와 안다 신가 나리야 센제 땅 맞춰야지 이 팀들 수기요래
그런데 정보도 그룹진 수거를 정보도 동대 먹고 여러 와도 손다 그런 손도 타지지 그래.
The villagers gathered together and made this law.
And who was in charge of the village?
아니 다 정습 gyala 나바주 정습이 여러와 다 정습디기와 직 뻬모 잡으디 수이나
뱀보다 그런 캠퍼스는 게레지 그래. 심지어 총에 심지어 다 신거 땅에 저 신여생이 시작이래요. 신거 땅에 저 그런 채버지 않다. 신거 뒤나는 심지어 신거 로선 스위스 심지어는 딜려야 다 채버치 그래. 단 누구 채버기 그래. 근데 누구 다 그렇게 그는 신 예버스게 줘. 뒤채때 왔다. 거기 라자로 중간으로 저 라자 코란으로. 뒤 하마데 다 지지로 당시 그래. 다 사상으로 되는 지지로.
The village leader was called Kongpo, and then there was another person called Shino, who was the one who looked after the field to see whose animals strayed into the fields and ate the crops, and the person would be fined.
And who would do the fining?
Nyepa tangye de su tangye yore shinga na senjele bina
deba tangado koranto chik sha shinga ne kore ja tenganji shinga mi sha ro rodilda tsadim da de chide siban da gosu da shinga tamne sambal an da de shinga jegro ba jene da da jebe na tsadim de mazo ba de tamne mi sha gre dila da la de jegre an di ru de khala de mo de te shi da tongba de mo te ge.
So there was one particular person who was in charge to look after the field when the law was in effect. So this person was paid a salary in grains, and his food was provided by each family member.
I see. And did the community think this was a good law to fine people whose animals strayed into their past grasslands?
다 딜라르와 다 팀지여와 디 정보 창매기 팀디 송구여와 팀들 다 뇌바치는 송구여라 창매. That was important for the crops.
It was important to save the crops. So, inside the house where you lived, your father came back from the service. You were about 15 or 16 when your father returned from the army. And did he live in the house with you?
Tagalagi pala kazi mala peswala. Tagala lo chonga chudu zindigani ya pala tsu mani tsu lole wala. And tidugani ya mizandi Chamdo la de. Tagaran. Yes, that's where we lived with the same family.
With the same family.
Until Tibet was lost.
I see. And what was your father doing in this family?
Ne tha pala chu mangmine chu lo lerwa and dije la ne pala mizandi na lega kharicindere.
An mizandi na da kare ko da te wat le garcha wa na da che der da mizandi na der da. Ji da kare ko na da le che wa da kare ko san ko le garcha wa ko ke do ke do garcha wa da che wa.
He did any work that the family that was to be done in the family. Any type of work.
Any type of work. Was he considered like a servant in the family or just a paid helper?
Ta palagi ta mizandi nala digi yorwala. Ta mizandi khare pala susugi yayo dabutigi yore yanchik lachateni
chik. Lachat misi yore ta de nam phasu so koran so tengomani ta chi Chamdo the Chadigan, Koran, the Tibet, the Chadigan, and that Mizan, Koran, the lesson. Chedi Masunga, that Seva Savajuma, the River, the Cambodia on the Yori. That depends on the two in the lesson, so
So there was no salary as such for my father, but my father was there since the time this family was established. He was there when the family was just constructing their house. Since then, my father has been living in this family.
I see. So was he considered part of the family?
This is the Mizan Digirwa, Gala Pala Nidi, Koranzugi Namida Utsigiorwe. Yes, that's right. They considered us as a part of their family, as family members.
Was this? Can you give us some idea of how this was a large family that paid taxes to the government? So how many people were in this family?
Mi khajeziyore mezan chimburo wata kunzo.
Mezan mi chobjeze labat de mi chobjeze le kon yagarela. Ta mi lashi jodinde ta chilo mi mango yungoro batinde ta sigata bi. Ta tendo mi chungni de bedele yo.
Mezan dig nang nangmi khajeyore.
Nangmi ra.
Lao.
Ta chama tambe khajeye. Josum de yiri.
Nami khora.
Nang josum de yiri.
There were about 30 members in this family. And then during cultivation time, they had more people to come and work with them, and then sometimes there were 18 people in the family.
Okay. Now, what happens next to you after you get a little older? You take care of the horses, and then what happens next in your life?
Ane anta galatis ya chimbucharwa. Ani ta dunjugi legache. Ani DJ le ya ani gala kawa pere tanda lamso la pere.
Lamso de tamon de Jamile ni da lamso la ro chumura lamso che orse lamso ta. Jamile de tongbo Jamile de gala ta. Jamile tongbo le de gala ta. Mondo de Jamile ta ti trin ro che godwa. Jamile tongbo de ya ta Jamile sajen ro che god simjen ro de kari ne te ores. Dire se casa ton re. Di shugol da lamso che was lamso de lamso minu ro ores. Lhasa do khara de take res ta chi peasant of take sa mana ko ko. So lamso do ta che de che.
When the Chinese first arrived, the district administrator ordered that we had to make preparations for the Chinese's arrival by giving them food and providing them with animals. And then later, I went to work on their road construction. So we had to take our own food while they paid us a salary.
Were you the only one from the family who had to go to road construction?
And the Nansan di Nane and Pala Chepore Langa Suga Penge. Oh, yes, I was the only one.
And why were you selected?
And Mizandi Gala Karsin Tangina.
Mara Tande Jendoi, doing is like that. Koraz that Sergeant of Koraz Doberwa.
Since the family was taxed to send one person, I volunteered to go.
And was there any reason why you wanted to volunteer?
Gela Karchime Dundu Chumbe. There were many other people going. And as a child, you enjoy working with many people together. So that was why I volunteered to go.
I see. And were you able to receive any salary for your work on the road?
And gala in Lagachiga Perwala, and to be going to Lhasa Raswe.
Lhasa take to Lhasa Tala Jamaica, Lhasa Novis, we take it. Tambo, decided to come on sing a Jido, come on sing such that, but the pretty just the Gemino. This such to take all that mini shoot the shag, the mini shoot Tanan. And these two in Java sign and delay and the Persan said, then Lhasa thought table to take to that Mujan did the dancing as your one, Mujan take, I need to take. 지지단 라서도 다는 거든 저. 지금은 이니 이제 지지. 달래가 다가야라 숨숨 되는 지지. 숨도 차가는 모든 거 아니네. 무슨 너 디스트릭 차가 디스트릭에서.
아니 사피드 갸디 가르치고 그래.
그래서 나가서 올봐. 다 나가서 나오죠. 저런 저보다 저거를 우선 저거를 시우지고 다 님은 다 올라왔던 거예요.
The Chinese gave us about 100 feet of area and 20 people who were required to lay the road, and then they gave us a lot of advice saying that you have to work really very hard, and whoever finished making the road first, and their group would be paid an incentive, and normally the salary was about 2 silver coins. But if you worked harder, you got more money. And there were a lot of people who were divided into groups to work on roads.
Was it 2 silver coins per each person?
I don't exactly remember if it was 1 or 2 Thai, but it was for 1 person per day.
Per day, okay. And so, just to give you an idea, how many, how valuable were silver coins? Like in Tibet, like how many hours or days would you have to work to get a silver coin if you were paid for a job in Tibet?
다행직 열와 다행직 니직 내공 체류래 내가 셴바지 지기나 다행직 내가 같이 지내라 이래.
디디가로 벽은 사지데 의사 제마도 지기를 다행직 상제마스 지기 다데 상하고 말로 왔다. 부부자 하고 말. 제가 공부 같은 데 있는다. 그래서 저는 제 지금도 저절 제고 좀 해도 되지 있어. 먼저 배우고 상 정말에 다지 또
So in those days the Tibet currency unit was called sang, and 1 sang would be equal to 1 Thaian. That's 1 silver coin.
의디에 단다티 쇼베싱을 줘도 디다 디데 상 주줄래 상강을 지기.
가봐야 해.
나는 이거 의디 쇼베싱을 줘다 배우고 의디 야로생을 다 드네요. 남한테 열다 간다 상생을 피체제생을 의 남한테 열다. 그래서 주시면 되는데 의랑 멤버 의도 되면 yap드네요. 남한테 열.
There are different types of currency units in Tibet. And, I have some money with me in my room now, so if you want to see, I can show them to you.
Oh, we would like to see that. Were these coins from when you were working?
아니 하다 배배 지어와 돈좀 나가모 한다 내가 지도 제교디 말와 내가 지도 These are not silver coins by the Chinese. I have Tibetan currency units with me.
Oh, I see. Okay. What would that silver coin? What would we get in rupees today? I'm just curious. If you could tell us.
Okay. So. 다 다행직 라기 열와 다니면서 다행직 라기 외차샤르와 단단간서 다 야가 임바이나르와 다 다행직이 가주스 잘라 가주스 라기를 상기돼 단다
단다 있는데 잘하는 거 단다 다 다행직 다행 공파 열와 근데 파이나 보면 다 돌아 위랑으로 보면 돌아 지도 차가 있듯이 지도 차가 니도 차가 그죠 니도 차가 있는 지도 차가 있는 맞대 야고 정의도 전부 열 지도 차가 있는
Some people might still have Thaians, I don't have, but the silver weight would be about $1.50.
Okay.
인지 간들러.
배세 공의장 두와. 너도 별이 미갈 인지 공을 야갈 타기도 와. 야갈 tun도 와. 그거를
So, in the days when India was ruled by the British, they have a rupee coin, so it's something similar to that.
Gela, Would you like to tell us about the Tibetan currency you're holding in your hand?
Gela tanda chana la ya tanda kari share ya pöge ngür vela. Pöge kazure tanga. That's a 100 currency unit note. It's 100 unit.
And where does it come from? What time in Tibet history?
And then also katune peju tangiore pöge gerap nala ya.
The donda 가르치는 dingen 하고 디 고란 지셔로 정말 동걸 쇼에서 열사 쇼미지에서 뭐뭐뭐뭐장지에서 중서 뭐뭐장들이 중서 되네 바qab절 일이 쇼미 때에서.
Very early in Tibet, I heard that they used to have silver coins, but then later they started using the paper money.
뭐뭐뭐를 세단데도 세르파라나 뭐뭐장들이서 저거들도 뭐 통요.
There were also gold coins in very ancient times that were used in Tibet, actual gold coins as currency unit.
And when you were a little boy, Gela, was this kind of currency like this in existence?
Gela penala ya ta puchunju lo chunju imbe kabla rawa ngui di peju tangi yorwe penala. Yes, that is right. That's the money that was used.
During your childhood and your...
everywhere in Tibet, that was the money that was used.
Okay.
There were other units too.
I see. And when the Chinese invaded, was this money still in existence?
And then penala gami yungruala. And the kabla and tando ngudi peju tangi yore.
먼저 다 쇼연데 봐도 다리. 먼저 다 먼저 쇼 뒤쇼니 코라 등이 파드스. 니 동에 미도 다셔 멜다이로와. 슝이 디디오로라. 이 쇼베데. 쇼베 상황 코란스 파드스. 안지 되게 인스스 라스데 관심 되는.
So this money was in circulation until we left Tibet, and then later I heard that the coins that were in circulation were taken back by the Chinese, while these paper currencies were burnt.
And the silver coins were taken back from the Chinese by the Chinese.
Not the silver coins, the coins that the Tibetans were using.
The Tibetan coins were taken.
Yes, taken back.
Taken
away by the Chinese.
Taken away by the Chinese. And the silver coins still stayed?
아니 다ien 돈조 가르치래.
다ien 다 슝게 다 가바잖아. 다 짱으로 응제로 다 슝거세나. 청바도서 본다 자갈 짱셔와. 자갈 짱으로 자가다 디가 짱시기도 다 dingon데 디시아 메시다스. 먼저로 된다 먼저는 다 파도 응제를 던 거로 와. 지금 벽 다ien 파도 응에서 주 정정을 지도 때. 주고 당에서 니술 파서. 자제로 파네.
다ien 지부자셔래.
지부자셔. 지금 먼저 다 슝이 된다. 그래서 지부자고.
So when we received the silver coins, we exchanged them for Tibetan currency, and I heard that the traders took them to India and sold them.
Okay. And then let us go back to our discussion. You were on the road gang, is that right? The road construction worker. And about what age was that? Do you remember that when you started working on the road construction?
Gyala tanda gyamigi langa susala pay ba di kabla gyala khonglu khatsus re. I might have been about 17.
About 17. And how many months or years did you work in that work?
아니 gyala dawa khatsus page laga chena.
너 테마질 너 24개.
걔나 당고 나와 숨지.
나나체. 이거 진짜스 때 정보도 못 배우고 상업에 나도 당셨어요. 진짜스 때 하사는 예사랬다. 근데 질 나가서 당시.
대패배.
대다. 다 나래 더 빠번도서 되게 만도
진달라 갱라 페이 빨라 페
난 빠번 예 빠번도
아니 갱라 템마직 페라
템마직
템마직
나 템마직 된다 공고티 니딩 오스 난가서
So I went to work on the road gang for 3 months in Kongpo Nitu.
Okay. Can you describe what the duties were that you did on the road construction?
ane langa sudu gane roala ane lega khande duwe ti kyala chikte shikero nanda
내가 다한테 배드티 다 코란도 젠디 랑가 대부서지 다tor 다 사데 된 파사 다 키게 그러와 다 뭔데 사다랑 랑가 수지리 모던로야서 랑가 모던로서 있었나 수지리 한 딜라야 다지 우전도 제 콘데지 배산도 남 나도 되거든 지 내가 대 우전 유야 제다 저거 차야 제리 인서와 지 가윤 저거 차야 너 먼저라지 니만 따고 지다지 내가 가서 왔다 로니도 때 네 지라바 접다도 망치지 이제 시위에서 지우 당가서 제가 보낸 전에 시위 지지에서 따와를 그랬던데 다지 야고도 배다 야제당에 진리마음이 배다 야제당에서 하는 지 저랑저거 봐 농부디 나라야 고다 배다 상무 치료 정도 그랬어 먼저 될래는 서로도는 배다 야제당 지고 싶어서 지었어 근데 시기도 동부도 봐 다들 시고도 영어로
So during the road construction, we had to level the land, and if there were rocks, then we had to blast the rocks, and then.
그래서 그것도 그거는 되지 싶어서 그래서 동부 밀어야 지 배산도 되디가라 되디기도 가서 그래 타만도 된다 안에 아주도 위즈도 되기도 밀다 다가들 레미 다가들 다 때문에 주쇼가 이제 니시 탐배들 내가 때 이수에나 니사나이나 가데나 될 내가 더 그저 약을 쓰면 다죠 이제 단다 마블 다죠 수승시 때도 수승 다죠 마블지다 빼서 빠르기도
다죠 마모
근데 지지도 마블지도 다죠 마블지 다가 레마블랑 레서 이제 수승지도 근데 지다 안에 빼서 빠르기도 빼서 있어 원래 지도 빼서 있는지 있어 때 근데 빼서 다 개발도 되기도 주쇼 빼서한다 미란스도 있는데 둘런도 된다
내가 야구치나
내가 야구치에서 다 그때 배상이었어.
So the roads were for the motor vehicle, and then the Chinese wanted us to finish the roads as early as possible, and then those who did good work, the Chinese gave them cigarettes, towels, soap, and then there were also tiny red triangular flags, and some were also giving clothes. And the Chinese told us that once the roads were built, they were going to bring great development in our country. And they said, now we are going to set up factories in your country.
And did the people on the road construction crew, what did they think of these promises?
고고 땅에 다 쉬우지 야게 땅기 인슬라브와 에네 미만 속에 다 가르치래
미마다 내가 지기로 왔다 내가 지다 그런 주제디 딸 나와가지고 저기는 딜라다 후전도 저러 딜라 건데 다 시우지 그때만도 땅치기도 미신다 다라래도 지고 지기에 지고 저러두기에 진음하고 뺐대 시우지기에 시기도 다간다
미만 속에 가르쌈래 내가
미만 제다 랑가 서저로 다디 정고디도 마 서저로 미세 미만 랑가 다디 내가 사야지 말아 다 정고 여러 봐 근데 막 가던 다 랑가 서버를 제가 랑서 줘버렸어 나 가던 거 여러 봐 되게 막 다디 여러 봐
So the Chinese praised those people who worked well, and actually it was not the people who really wanted to go and work, but they were ordered by the district officials to do so. It was an order.
It was an order. So
So The Chinese have ordered the district officials,
Right.
who in turn ordered the people to work for the Chinese.
Right, right. And you volunteered to go from the family. Okay. Now, tell me about your day. What happened? What time did you have to get up to do the work? And what did you do to break up the road or make it smooth? What did you actually have to do?
Ta langa sudu gane rwal. Shoge chuzu kazu zili ya langi yore.
저도 왜저 저도 듬바지 이런 거 듬바지 이런 거 있어요. 듬바지 전에 개발 내가 또
개발 내가 고소.
근데 관다 다 프랑스 쿠시다. 디나 가서 개발을 그랬다. 디나 내가 후전 제대가 요나. 또 랑가 저거 사는 건데 배산 저거 되게 봐. 어디 진짜.
내가 가리래. 내가 파게라 타 랑가 가데스 고고.
랑가 다 이제 다 사광고에는 장다 다 있는 또 그러 봐. 근데 다 랑가 버터 타야서 그러 봐. 자는 랑가 또 근데 도팅 그저라 도팅스 때 쉬고 도 도팅스 도요 말이. 다 그걸 큰도 그렇다 치사라 버터 타지 써야 돼.
아니 다 간데스 하고.
다는 제자네 아니 다 미게 도도는 다 용부 디나는 제장 받아야.
So we started work like from 8 o'clock in the morning, and then the road had to be leveled, and we had to fill up the holes, and in case there were rocks on the road, then we had to hammer a little hole, and then
Blast it with dynamite?
Dynamite. Or dynamite powder was put into the hole, and the rocks were blasted.
이게 도도는 자용 도도는 자용도 해. 어떻게 자랑. 디디 미세요 말했는데 다 돌아야 되는 거 맞아요.
There were no other machineries to blast the rocks.
No other machines. Did Gela, did you learn how to blast, to use dynamite and set off a charge?
아니 걔라기 자인 베탄다 차 도리야 던져. 저도 제자로 고고라.
그렇게 전혀.
Yes, I did.
You
I
did.
did learn.
Was anybody hurt doing this kind of work?
근데 집에 가네 로알라 미술이야 지금 매 근데 총수야. No, nobody was
injured.
And 다들 마도 간래 시제 그래. 시제도 뒤제 그래. 근데 밤에 봐 되는 거 봐. 근데 다들 매자 그랬어.
If you started at 8 in the I'm sorry.
So just before the rocks were blasted, a whistle was blown, so people had to flee away, and then it was fired.
I see. Got it. And when you before you went to work, were you given food to eat in the morning by the Chinese, or did you have to bring your own food?
다 저게 주주 개발을 내가 페기로 와라. 다 내가 만중에야 수수 칼라 사고래야 개미 칼라 찌게.
나는 칼라 쿠야 마스직 때요는 안수 난 쿠야 사바도다 도신도
There was no one to cook for us, so we had brought flour and samba from home. So we cooked and we ate our own food and then went to work.
Okay. And did you take a break during, how long did you work all day?
아니 다 저게 주지 개발스 고주 위너와 근데 파라레 파싱딘데 여러에 니만 강 내가 친데요.
센스 파센타 때때 주제 까망하던 것 같은데 다 샤그래 다 참참참 주제 찍기 참제 다 주제 제가 듣는 데를 샤그래 까망하던 샤그라면서 실제는 샤그래 까망한 남성 놈.
So every half hour or so we had 5-minute break, and as soon as the whistle was blown, then you had to restart work.
And was there anything to drink during this hard work day?
아니 내가 지도가네 직 통해야 된대 여러에.
가가야 뭐 가만서 난 만도 가야 뭐 치료에 따뜻한 거.
Except for water, you did not have anything to eat until you went back to your place.
Your place, was that your own home?
아니 다 건다 팔로 주디가네 수수 나가로 주기열에 가봐도.
딱 그때 고르자셔 왔다. 나가서 세고르다. 나가들 대고. 나가야 여기다 고려로 와.
No, we lived in tents that were set up nearby where we were building the roads.
Okay. You lived in tents. So, did people have access to water during the day?
아니 닝고 미sol야 내가 랭이 여러와 군zul라 추통 촉조 여러베. 주요 말아. There was no water during the day for the people.
What months are we talking about? He said 3 months. What seasons?
Gala dawa sums laga cheroala. And the year du kaware tuzu. 사장 간대이나.
그래서 나하고 그거 집어진 미라 들리진다. 들리진다. 나하고 그거 집어진 진짜.
I think it was around the 9th or 10th month.
So, October, November?
Yes.
October, November. And how was the weather conditions?
안디 갑란남 시차랑 간대 여래라.
온도 공부를 넘지 야고요. 그건 넘 잠깐 맞아는 넘지 야고요. 넘지 정보요. 넘지 야고요. 넘지 야고 싶어요.
The weather in Kongpo was very good.
넘지 정보요.
It wasn't very cold.
So you lived in tents. Who provided the tents? And then was there an evening meal? And where did you get it?
아니 딱 군나나 슈르왈란. 아니 쿠르데 수기 때베.
그다 수기 되잖아. 뒤다 수시 지금 걸어도 메도. 나 먼저 하셔야 된다. 거리가는 라스도 쿠샤. 라스도 된다. 들어든지 쿠샤.
아니 gonda 칼라요레.
gonda 칼라 나랑 서거로 간다. 다른 나랑 서거를 사회는 뒤에 잔도 그다. 살아갈 수가 있는데 단도에 라스 소리. 세는 많이 되지로. 저거다 내가 다나 칼라서요. 잔도서 딱좀 내가 지기로.
I think some of the tents were set up by the Chinese and some of the Tibetans had brought their own tents. And in the evening we came back and cooked our own food, ate and then went to sleep because we had to get up the next morning.
What time, until what time did you have to work each day?
아니 건다 치료 받을 내가 치고 거래.
건다 모두 좀 받다 넘시던 주. 그래서 주대 제가 고든에 지고 있어요. 고대 패서 고대 인설 주대 고대 패서 내가 인설다.
건다 주스 고받다 말아.
건다다 주대 패서 단데바 세저는 단삼 니마 라라바다 되게 니마 라라바다 니마 라데스는 주대 별로 있는다 가서 찍어 주대 숨버시고 되는 자갈로 있는다. 주대 마버 두고선 찍으러 와. 두고 찍으러 와. 별로 니마 따바 슈주바 니마 슈주바 되게 니마 슈주다 한다 달로.
We worked until about sunset.
And in terms of the makeup of the group, about how many people were in this consortium, and how many men, how many women?
단다 내가 레서 지어와라. 델레야타 미 가즈스 포켜와 김에 근데 랑가스 살아.
세다로 영을 저거 장장서를 답베데 거제죠. 이제 대대 이제 이제 승제도 이제 승제도 열면 되죠. 승제도 있어.
김에지요 말아.
재미스러요. 재미 레드니들 임지 좀.
There were just 1 or 2 women. It was men mostly, about 200 to 300 men.
And had all of these men been ordered by their district to go?
아니 다 미니게 숨겨서요와 돈주 상마 안에 소수 종병기 야네마 가서 다 까땅네 주겨로
네 상원 까땅죠 다 동고디 로거레스 다 정도는 마셔거로 봐 동고동만다 동고레스.
Yes, they were ordered and the orders went to each village.
But the orders came to the district from the central Tibetan government?
다 종기 다 미망철이야 다 까땅로라. 엔 종라 까땅에 대 별종이나.
또 하고 말았다. 띵한테 세상에 말했다. 그때인데 하고 말았다. 먼저 이제 정거된다. 배송 거에서 봐. 슝마 거에서 들었다. 디네 마가던데 딱 거리는 년으로 와. 먼저 또 정벨로 침적이
I do not know exactly if how the order came to the Zong, the district official, but as far as we are concerned, the district officials are put up there by the Tibetan government, so we have to listen to his orders.
And so, when you were working in the field on the roads, were people happy? Were they angry? Were they, irritated? What was the experience of the people who were having to do this hard work?
Langa sungye mimang yorwala, mimang mangbodoa, and those langa sube kablaya chik kondu sagi yore, kibu yore, konzuta sembe nala soa kande dawjiki and laga chidigi yore.
Not also yore, that in the Dilata transfer great Lego Hudan Ching and the Gari, Jamil Miganga in the Yorta, cut on the Yorta, another Yortina. The dearest is said to Maro, Green and Jamil Vertati, on the Lumbanala, shaking to the sing and the Yorta.
There were different types of people. There were some Tibetans who worked well, and there were some Tibetans who did not like the Chinese and resented their presence in Tibet.
And what kind of category did you fit in, Gela?
I worked hard because that was my duty, and the Chinese, they said a lot about bringing progress and development, and I thought maybe they would bring about progress, but then later it was not.
When you came together at the end of the day and had your evening meal, did people discuss the different concerns or beliefs they had about what the Chinese were saying? Were there a variety of opinions? What was it like?
Any gonda chama nyamdo zongirwa da gutila zong khala su sa chigirwa and di kableya ane chik tharing gita lugu damenda dinde she yami kor dinde she ane chik samchu damenda she dinde chigirwa
dinde shira she cho mare koti koran dinde she cho mare ta chushi osu yorwa dinde she da saga she yor da jemin chimenda jemin khasira tanju mare ta ka se didiga.
No, we were not allowed to speak against the Chinese aloud, maybe only secretly.
Were there informants or spies?
I don't know if they were spies or not, but in general we were told not to speak against the Chinese by our group leader.
I see. And were you given a day, you were there 3 months, were you ever given a day of rest in 3 months?
Ne kala pike dawasum chale na shurwa ane para ya parsing de nima rets ni shagire ba
also tene ta shagdo miseta ta message yo mar ta ma degimi logi insana lo chudo tende to min
ma nima khungsen yo ba
khungsen yo mar khungsen chag mar khungsen ta chun dabda jinan ta karso ora tinda jinan chi nima chi yes gi do miset
No, there was no day off, because they did say that we would have a day off in a week, but the road was constructed on an emergency basis, so we did not have any days off.
Was there ever a chance to take a bath, a shower, to refresh yourself in long 3 months?
Tawasum Chalena Rala, and the para de Conse Meva in a chick 2 Gayala Sopa, that the Susu 2 days Guru, then it's here as well.
This is that Konda, your Chuchi was usually children again, daughter again. Purely Chuki and
It wasn't the custom in Tibet to take baths much, but in the evenings there was a big river nearby, so we could go there.
Okay. And how far was this place from where your village was?
Tanda dawa sum langa sun shusa jiorwa, di galagi tongsep ne taring lure. It's about a day's journey.
Choose your mission. Darjan Nima Chagamas go Mare, choose children, choose the two them or what, and in the quality of the Nima Chicago.
So there was a big river in between my village and the place where I worked. So we had to wait for the boat to take us across. So that was why it took a day's journey. It was a day's journey.
Well, you mentioned customs of taking baths in Tibet, and that wasn't a usual custom. So tell me, what was the custom? How did people take care of their bodies and clean? What was the custom?
In Tibet, there was a special period time called the Kamarichu, during which time everybody washed, but normally people did not wash much. And also there was no time and people were too busy with their work.
And what was that special time called again?
Kamarichu, right? Kamarichu.
Kamarichu sigida gari kamu karasa kamu tewa ni sigida kaisa hago menta lungo rega mire to manzo kamarichu sigida.
Ta tuju sangbo jiya ya.
Tinda jewe tinda dumbe tashul sigida tati.
Penda dumbe.
Penda dumbe.
That occurred at the end of the 7th lunar month.
Chudi pe that chibuji yusi wanda. Jilo do shu yes.
At that time the water is said to be very holy, blessed.
So
7th month is like August.
Yeah, that's right. So it would have been in August. Water was, I bet the water was not only holy, I bet it was a little warmer.
And it should be toy you get a decabler well.
No, she that pearl and she drinks it. But that burger, we send that little Chawajagrilla. Monzo Chawajagore. Should Tomboy.
In certain areas of Tibet, water froze, but not in our region.
But not in your region. Gela, you said the Chinese told you that they would develop Tibet, but did the Tibetans have a desire for any kind of development? What did they have a wish for their country to be developed?
Ta gyami tende lawa ta nganzu pyo nali yarge tanga le ins lawa ta pheba choge ende samgi yore sembe nali ya ta nganzu yarge drogu du samne
ta samge yigirwa ta di le no den ja ta demi ji dongole di pe yabondo jiwa kuje chobosna ji demi ko dungune ka kugrela ngane paji to nyaga da ta ji du ji nyaga da는 ba mo da mi nyegwana ji kugereda kon주 kuje jibu 동고 봐
Gemi pewe gemi dona. People might have thought that because initially the Chinese were really very good, and at times, even if a Tibetan beat the Chinese would bear it.
But the love then say pay was which years that the agenda would go. I think was the years ago.
The Chinese, they said that we will bring about development to your country and then we will leave and go away.
Right. That's what they said. But aside from the Chinese even coming to Tibet, do you know if you, your father, your family, did they ever talk about wishing Tibet could be developed for jobs or education or medical care? Was there ever a wish for development from the people?
미망이 쳐내와 아니 발라든지 계제시에서 혼용배 다 지켜라와 지 변화래야 다 야게 dro고도 가지고 롭종 고고도 가지고야 아니 지 맹가 고고도 시야라 속과든지 네 까메든지 혼용이나
근데 저다 메시지 고면요라 근데 저다 지당 안에 배버디 가라서 다 정보도 비세는 내가 충전을
라
나중에 내가 충전 주고래 먼저 가보다
No, I never heard any such things. And to be frank, I have to say that the Tibetan standard of intelligence was very low at that time.
So, and why do you think the standard of intelligence was so low at that time?
아니 걔라 디가블야 베베게 넷세페 마우리 숨겨라라 간데치니 마우리도
그다 지당에는 미게 더 신도 저와 디다 아니 디 가르쳐 버렸다 랍장게 디 텐제도 버렸다 요 말이 싫었어 랍장 텐제도 요 말와 디 시도 못 차로 다가 최고를 열다 최고는 백을 건데 가요랬다 지금은 잡아요랬다 주들라면 지금 잡아 거란 좀 지지로 봐 나한테 배웠다 만은 말한서 나한테 시갔다 비다한다 근데 디제 최대에서 쳐보신 일이다 만들어
The standard of education was very low because there were no schools. There were monasteries, but the monks in the monasteries learned only about the dharma, and the people were engaged in working on the farms all the time.
So, when you finish your tour of work on the road construction, what happens to you next?
Tagela ani tawasum pageleya langa sosalia chale nawa and this habejela ani gela khawa khari
나온 로를
now hello pewa I returned to the house.
Okay. And what happens to you and to your family and your village next?
Ta nala pha lorwala ani dijela ani khari chungsa gela
그때는 시가다 로지 된데는 안내 월시다 다 사성문이야 공부도 다 근데 잡주도 건데 속았어 다 공부니야 데 다보체 다보는 혼내서 저 속았어 근데 사선제 나라도 말로 공부를
and negoci
then
I went back home and then did my usual work for a year or two and then I took a journey of pilgrimage from Kongpo to Tagpo and Lhasa and back home.
예론 먼저 예론 이제 다보는 다보라 그냥 단내만 고지죠. 되네야 예론 대선에 선생님들이 되네야 제 단도 추시를 걸어서 자선 처리스 되게 거지 봐 가서 추시만 가서
I saw the holy sites in many places at Yarlung and Lhasa.
Was that the first time you saw Lhasa?
And did you pala Lhasa pede thema thangboru wel Lhasa jeya? Yes, that was the first time, and I took the journey by walk.
Was it possible to see the Dalai Lama when you were visiting Lhasa?
아니 딱 걔라 디가블 Lhasa thema 직패도와 아니 겸거를 무지 제야 중요나?
뒤에 저것정은 이모들 진지해서 지 충전지
거리 저것정하래.
다와 동부 저것정.
Yes, I was able to see His Holiness the Dalai Lama on the 15th day of the first month.
What was that experience like for you?
I can't be similar to the younger Jera, do the country's chunks.
I think on the top of the Devils in Chitang, that just says and that Kawasan was in Johnson, that in this revision. Sedaka, that necessary.
I thought what a fortunate time it is that I'm seeing His Holiness.
And how was it possible for a person on pilgrimage to have access to His Holiness?
아니 디컵라로와라 다 갸라 탄다디 네고로와 네고와지로와 다 네고로 페로와 에 꺄고를 비치 아니 네고와지 꺄고를 비치 칸데스 제규라 데사
멜롱갈라야 숭제라스들 다데 이제 디니문데 좀디죠 사서 민은 다 드레신 배때 동글 저거질 다 숭제라스 미만 상만 다데 잡아도 상만 숭제라스 때문에 좀 디리 감지
아 가바사제 가바
숭제라스 저 뉴인들이요 저 단데 자 저들 뉴인들이요 숭제라스
아 숭주라와
숭제라스
사제데 민들
맞아요 다들 저한 것들 자그럼 집주 있는 것도 안내 좀 배, 안되지기도 다들 믿어 지고 열어야 타기면도 먼저 딴 내고 봐라. 저 잡아지냐 간디기도. 우주들이 다다.
So that was the time of the great Monlam prayer festival in Lhasa, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama arrived at this area called the Sungchurawa in front of the chore, and then monks and lay people crowded the area to have a glimpse, and I was, there was so much crowd that I could hardly glimpse His Holiness.
I see. Did you That was during the great Monlam festival of Lhasa. The great
Monlam festival. In the first month.
Okay. Did that festival happen every year?
And the Monlam chimo lo takparis. Yes. I was only able to view the Monlam chimo once, but then I heard that afterwards there are many other ceremonies that follow.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, was there something that prompted you to want to go on pilgrimage? There were
about 40 to 50,000 monks around.
Wow.
And gala thanda negor la perwala. And negor la gala rangi sembena that taji nego chik drogo with those in the summer perwala.
That nego the pergita. That's supposed to be near corner center. That the end of the near corner. That how about the Nazanet is Jewish. And doesn't say Lhasa Road.
Tibetans considered Tibetans consider it very important to take a pilgrimage and also to see the chore, and that's how I went and then returned home after Lhasa, visiting Lhasa.
Okay. So what year are we talking about now? You're about 20 years old, roughly?
That's right, about 20.
Mm-hmm. And at this time, when you return home, was there any thoughts about getting married and having a family?
I did have lovers, but I did not think of a marriage.
What stopped you from wanting to get married?
Gala chansa karijin kyo mare ta gabu yorwa chansa kyo marwa
that is it over marwa but pure does ngana jemi that labda show ngana labda dollars ngana de lagu do ti ngara chida jemi sil ka me ngara double me didn't then jagal ta cheda ya ta ji jagal trend house na chegi do ta pure wa dejanga ta ngara na ta je jen do sing pure that jagal cheda ya.
So the Chinese were asking young people to come to school in China, and I did not want to do that. And then by then Tibet was lost, and I decided to escape to India.
I see. So before you escaped to India, how were things in your village? Did anything happen because of the Chinese presence?
아니 갸라타 갸가라 마트스니라와 갸라가 트랜스셉 나래 갸밀레 지네든데 교와든데 가리줘요래
그 주었을 때가 마트달이야 다 배셔 살바셔잖아 대 가서 그래 정백이 다 밀장 치아도 상마마 안다 잘라네 치아도 토져 안 뒤면 다더거든데 다 지금 이제 다가도 상만 토져 아니 뒤다 면다다 익자서 열봐 뒤도 상만 뒤도 이제도 메라도 이렇게 이제 중에 통스 근데 제버지 코란도 누가지 얘기도 근데 다 재미 인주 배워래서 다 배워 뭐 재미는 연결되고 봐 재미 labrad는데 컨셉에 뒤다도 제다
티멘다 초래
티멘다 다야랜 정말 랜쇼 then 10 minutes 말이스 다데 뒤도나 거리에 상마야 뒤도
before I made my escape
내려거든요 여러와 뒤도 죽은 주스도 먼저 내가 좀 와서 미바 피세 딱 관도 도단도 좀 매서 있었어 도단제 다티미 다 쪼부다만 내가 지금 여러와 리미트도 됐어
근데 강거든 좀
강거도 리미를 봤다 내가 남게 내가 지금 여러와 뒤들을 만나 요거 쓴다 여러분들
미 축구도 좀 가봤다
그 축구도 그 도단 측 매서 딱 칼라티 이제 완전 요거를 네 라우스기도 또 건들 다 도단도 전 강거도 나 세고
제일로 와야라 패찬
어떤 말레 강을 뒤도 탑 뒤스 뭐 미통사 뒤스 다 건들 도단도 중거리 탑에 당서 어디 담냐 상제도 생각지도 어디 탐제 당서지 먼저 마파가 농부들의 캐넬린스도 농부 공부하잖아 어디를 탐제 당한다 그지 마 투저돼 되고 탐제 당서 마데 죽었다가 안 되다 농부들 렌다 되는 망고를 죽었다스네 된데도 간 탐제 당서 재미있게 손도 좋으시고 제사 안 담냐 상제도 생각데 탐제 당을 했기도 탐제 당인데 디디가 동운데 지금도 콜베다지 두링에 되고 시기도 다지 최베도 다지 냐니스로 담에 두전도 다더니 먼저 사자 동동도 때다 주주난도 트로베 두전도 시기도 다 거란도 청바로 봐. 그 청제고 가봐가발로 봤다. 두파 플랜도 수 제가 두지고 딘데 톨래 미만 체인지로 이제 톨 먹겠지들이 통스 되는 미시다가 수고도 그 동세르스기도 무슨 통마서
So before I made my escape, the wealthy people in our village were made powerless, and their houses were given to the poor people, their servants. And the Chinese took away their guns and swords and other assets, and the permits of the guns were also burnt. And then once I went to visit a water mill, and there I saw the tamjin being meted out to a person called Tamye Sangye Dorji. He was a trader, and he used to give loans to the people. And I saw that tamjin, but he was not beaten at that time, but they were hurling accusations at him. And later I heard that he was beaten and killed, but I did not see that.
And who were hurling accusations at him?
아니 담예 상게 도질라로와 다 교육이 마칭에 돈주 지리 라네 라비에 돈주 쓰래.
저 코란도 그때 유럽 그때 미도 코란 그때 마다 가서 왔다 성자서 왔다 루미빈 도시는 저 루마미빈 동요. 뭐 딘데 토베 다 미세도 들었다. 동바도.
So they were the people of his village to whom he used to loan grains.
And what kind of accusations were they making?
아니 콜이야 아니 가리가리 라비도 미든지기 칸에.
건조가 다지 건조 주는도 건조 트로스 배자만 주선세 다들이
규노 트로스
다지 담은다고 되는 샤인스로 다지 미 견저도 되는 샤 딜리 트로베 두제도 다 건조 트로스 트로도 말로 그 빌렌토네 담을렌시로 문제는 근데 셋다 버텀대로 깨 처음부터 제베 시부리스 당원들 배도 당한지 드리면들고 라고도 때문에 때문에 시부정아 되는 시부면 담도 당보들 어디라고 됐어. 네, 막 정부때 코란 탐자서도 되면 예서지리만 메도 디디가 들려고 돼.
So I heard these people telling Tamye Sangye Dorji, you took away our assets. Because I think they said this because these people might have pledged their ornaments to Tamye Sangye Dorji when he was giving them loans, and might not have been able to pay back the loans, and he might have kept their pledged ornaments.
Right.
So that might have been the cause.
I see. I see. Did you know this man individually as a person?
Gelagi handa tamye sangye doji lange di chidangi ngo kengi yuwe.
Ngo shingi lungu bata lungu shong yuwa.
Ine chidangi ta susu chik chik ngo shenpa dinje di kiye marwa.
Ngo shenpa ta pazu ngo shingi ta mo chik chiraga tu ta teotu siyo marwa ta mo ta yulo nama mirawa ko jiwa sun shirame. Ngo tunga ta chidangi ta shingi ngo shingi ko.
After you saw that man being Thamsin, what did you decide to do?
Ani gyalagi ta tamye sangye doji la thamje dansa sirwa. Ani gyala khari nango samje.
네 제문이 야고면도 생각다 배다 그 뭐만 셰셰도 배 주문도 있다 대야성도 있다 야고 제어서 저러와
I realized that what the Chinese has told us earlier about them, told us earlier were all lies.
What kind of lies?
Ta mabin jabu charwa, ta temba menge charwa.
Ta waji ko yago ji yesuna joro ta ti 주문도 차로 다 되게 되면 가다한다 된소면 되가 다 아메리카 대 다바쇼고래서 근데 저기도 와 대월이 지어서는 면은 되어지기도 되게가 어디 있지
The Chinese have been telling us that they were going to do good for the Tibetans, so which wasn't true now.
아메리카 다바쇼 대 쇼고시 다르스 아메리카 쇼고 다르스
The Chinese used to say that the Americans were paper tigers.
And what did that mean?
슈그따르라나 가리 레게요나.
슈그따데 땐 지금 때는 지부통 그랬어. 그 출 봐는 둘도 그랬어. 그래서 이게 제제도들이 저기도. 또는 대도 그랬어. 그 슈그 아니 가요 말했어. It
means that the tiger looks good on the paper, but if you put it in water, it shrivels up.
Why do you think the Chinese wanted to make the Americans sound weak?
다디 건데 딱 바는 저거 지 롱버들에 저런 정도만 롱버 되죠 말이스 되나 하는 롱버들 다 대도 마음에 되는더라 되돌래야 하는 돼서 요 말이스 님은디 월러서 요 말이스 님은디 월러 먼저 레그리스트 간다 아메리카 사람들 깨다 침벌에 돼 근데 다 쇼게 따라서 되도 님은지 먼저 했는데 답에 사투 그랬어 되는데 다디 먼저 수련에서 이제 루스가 되었다. 되게만 관저 군인이 뒤에 답에 제급 사토 누물 사토 그랬는데 세고.
수다.
우루스 수련에 지시가 됐다. 재미있게 수련에 지시가 됐다. 수련 사지시가 됐다. 재미있고랑 게 먼저에 쳐버리지.
The Chinese would tell the people that they cannot run away anywhere under the sun, because they and along with the USSR, they were going to invade the whole world.
And where would he hear these kind of statements?
아니 걔가 돈서 가발을 거서.
다가랑 때문에 탐대당님도 고생했다. 담냐선에 탐대던데 간디 주자를 건데던데 담면은 자지 깨 잡지고도 근데 진짜 되게 뒤고서 되는 줄.
So I heard these statements being given at the end of the Tamjin of Tamye Sangye Doji at the Taxation land.
지수자를 다 들으려고 했다. 도저부터 가고.
Was that
도저버스는 다 자그럼 붙여단다. 들을 거고 와. 재밌다. 대소만 거고 와. 대소들 로저버스.
They were talking about the rebels too. The rebels were meant for the Defend Tibet Volunteer Force, as well as His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
See. And did you know of any of the rebels who were fighting for the Dalai Lama?
다 럭주 라기어로 아게미 갤라스다 되는 럭주 나는 숨어셔봐 여래 군주 럭주 라야 디나라
먼저는 저 도저시도 다 관도로 막은 게 럭주 찍으러 왔나
갤라스 숨어셔봐 되는 유벨지
먼저 되는 다 럭셔면서 다데 보존병 관도 다 여러봐 다 관도 뭐셔 말봐 그래서 난다 대통령만을 때 고문을 나와지니 되래 다 숨데 돼 있어 대체 안 된다 주고 배셔디 가면 다 관도 돼 여러봐 근데 재미 사선만 줘도 뛰어디 먼저 통서 사선 전에 더 쇼거지 마 참동을 당할수도 쇼거지 다 대소맘에 대 먼저 말다 대 마음이 어려 대소맘 바보 좀 배웠는 어디들서 마저 건다 칠때 이미 제가 들 때문에 건다 생각 쉬운데는 저도 잘
가와 진사
그데 건 재미됐을 때 안게 갔어요 티젤링 생각이 사자들이다. 안게팅가 사자 권한 안게팅가 생.
안게팅가.
더 도저 사자 권한이. 수저들 다자스 그래. 제 뭐때 대서 마음에 대서 저러와. 뒤때 마수 자서지. 사자들 다자스 그래.
So the Chushi Gangdrug Defend Tibet Volunteer Force had arrived in Kongpo, and then they stayed there for about 3 months. And at that time, Lhasa fell, and then the Chinese came from Lhasa towards Kongpo, and there were many Chinese camped at a place called Angitinka, and then the encounter took place at Tanza.
Did you see the encounter, or were you a part of it?
아니 Tanza la tama 징로알.
사대 님은 제가다 님은 찍지 저거 좋았더라.
징사 아니 갸라기 시쇠.
다데 멘데자서 깨고르면서 다데 타임 다 메스는 거 타면서 멘데 깨고도
I did not see the encounter, but I could hear the gunshots.
디 슈골라네 다 재미로 두니 두시도 빠졌다. 먼저 뭐 미치야 전시면도 다시 쇼면서.
Then I also heard that after the encounter there were 6 Chinese killed. And from the Tibetan side, there was a horse killed.
That's all. And so, this, if you could hear this, you were rather close to this event. So, what effect did it have on you when you saw how close the Chinese were coming?
타이니부 인디간 타이니부 게밀레 차바겐라 킹기어와
재미도 모두 마음 통으로 왔다.
재미간라니 다 간데도 가리다고 해서 다
그렇다 해서로 또 맞자다. 지 저주로 토비게 됐었는데 딱 먼저 드딩 하는 데로 와. 저도 다 되네 데려나. 근데 거기서 다 뒤따른 거 같아. 봐. 들지를 공부 때는 봐다. 자왕을 같이 봐. 근데 마도 무슨 자여서 되는 바도 먼저 고대로 지나. 되는데 여러 방송은 야 암소라서는 주들라 더 된짐 로에서 더 재미 거릴라 재미 자다 업주도 되는 세셔스 거릴라 뉴스는 되는 세요. 근데 또마 타만이 숨이 되어서 더 동보대 어디 될지 안 같은 것은 될잖아. 근데 파거치가 세웠다.
I hoped that we would win, and then there were several encounters between the Chushi Gangdrug and the Chinese at different places.
다 디디가 마고 있잖아. 다 마고 있잖아. 공부 마고 가서 민갑자들고 다 라저테지스 라저테는 엔다지 라저테자는 동백이 있지. 여봐 라저들이 디제 다 디네가 마미 민갑자들고 디 뱀보데 다 디지 관사게 세 뱀은 총알았으니까 그래. 근데 다 뭐지도 샤자 다 라저테요 말다. 야롱만만 마음 쇼더로 라진 저에
수익이 라지제고라.
다디 추주군도 서가지고는 라지 동안이었어. 다 아메리카에 있는 지금 유고르스가 다가서 먹었지.
So
the
people were asked to join the army, Chushi Gangdrug, and that 500 people joined, and we were promised weapons. And the son of Diki Khansar was made the leader, and the Chushi Gangdrug said that they would be getting weapons from the United States, and that they would be sending us weapons, but that never happened.
Never happened. So you actually
Bala yore dina. Gela. Gela was among the 500, but they did not get weapons.
They did not. So when you didn't get weapons, what did you do then?
아니 다 나베sol야 다 락처라이 마로와 아니 가르치 gela.
대시절에다 나와. 내가 죽었다. 대서만 맞잖아. 와. 먼저 다 나올 대시절 와가. 말아서 여마서 건도 도면 그랬다. 라서 여버도 냠제 친로 와. 한달 호가 받으신 디네 자갈 되어치는 거 자갈 되어치는도 와. 더 디네 마도니 숨데 자이서 디네 또또또 자라자라로 디네 자강을 되어서 와. 난 서비스를 뭐죠. 먼저 공부 때 사자. 서비스 디네 봐 자갈 되어서.
So since I did not have a weapon, I could not go with them and just stayed back, while some others who had weapons, they went and joined the Chushi Gangdrug, and later I heard that they escaped over to India.
And what happened to you next?
아니 겔라 아니 나라 파슈는 아니 디제 가르치래.
저도 용이라. 디시고라 다 로직 대에만 주체도.
After that, I might have
been 두고든 이자래서 뭐 때려져 땡땡도 수뒤 님도 나로 안되네 안데 대기위에서라 왔다 로건 두고만 나랑 텐세 자갈 텐 로로지도 텐열데 텐세
I remember that that year they were 2 6 months in the Tibetan lunar calendar, and I helped harvest the field, and then I left with a colleague. Left home with a colleague.
To go to India?
아니 야가라 배야지 야인데.
자가 로로로만 때든 또 도주된다고 왔대나 아니 정대로 토고는 또 세세던 안징안에 인도상에서 데려왔다 된지 배랑 왔다는데 토고를 배다지 자들랑 지 토고를 했습니다. 먼저 다도 자갈 반대가 라사 로벌는 거 시작이 민도다. 먼저 로벌만 대열 mem다 말에 많이 볼 수 있는 거죠. 로벌은
So I thought, when I reached India, So I thought, that I might not have to stay there long, because Tibet will surely get back her independence and I would go back home, but it never happened. And the journey from my home to Manipur is about 6 days.
다들 로케에서 말 미게 그거 말에 로버스한테 꽤 가가지 그래. 최근 저거 말한다고 들이 그래. 저게 제자지고들이에요. 꽤 저거 말데 얘네한테 다 나와진이 되더라.
The people of the region where I came to spoke a different language, and they hardly wore any clothes.
Wow.
그 작은 로버스 그때特别 이제민지 로버스처럼 대초만.
And then we were asked to go to India and came to Misamari.
Okay. Gayla, I do want to ask a question. After having worked on the road construction, and when you saw what the roads were used for by the Chinese, did you have any feelings or thoughts about having built those roads for the Chinese?
Gela jelaya ta samlotandugane langa suyo digala ani kemi yumya ki langa charwa and langa de susu gi da sero che charwa and di korle sembena le chik tengi duel chik sam suido
langa serji ji medan roya pen samase teoste ina da chik kemi yaje to de chasang mo dang de langa serji min roya dan debo yorwa.
First, I believe that constructing of roads is helpful because people can move around, but it has been good for the Chinese.
Well, we're going to have to end the interview now. So I want to ask, if this interview was shown in Tibet or China, would this be a problem for you?
탕아 좀 잠시만 이해해봐. 아니 다 다른 게 뒤와 틀린 게 표다 캐나다고 때문에 안 캐나다 강에 괜찮이 있는 거.
강에 같은 거는 빈자서 뭐 살때 요마라. 요리대 열때 빈자들 장다드네요. 만 더요.
No, there will be no problem because I do not have any contact.
Can we use your real name for this project, or do you want to use an alias?
아니 걔라기 민 한주 배주 땅나 디기로 와라. Yes, that's right. You can use my name.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your story with us, Gayla.
아니 걔라기 루규 다리 간주로 송남바디 투지치 쉬야 이니사.
Tell him to just wait a minute. Okay. We're gonna. Here. Do you want to give him a gift, honey? Here, take it.
You do that. You want me to use it? Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Gayla, we would like you to have this as a gift.
걔라기 간주기 네번 춘지시.
네버 거예요.
Wait, we'll take a picture here. She's going to do it. Okay.